This is the Desert Bears podcast. I'm your host, Davey, with my co-hosts.
I'm Mark Knott.
And I'm Garrett Heaton.
We talk about interesting subjects, incredible subjects. And Mark
may or may not be a stretch.
Exactly. Mark is in control of this episode, and he has some incredible things to share with us.
Fascinating things. I never got into comic books. I've tried, and I never got into it. But I'm still incredibly fascinated with superpowers. I think movies, thankfully, have been able to bring. We've been able to bring enough comic books to movies that I've been able to pay attention to the idea of superpowers. So my question to the panel today is, what is your dream superpower? But before we get into your dream superpower, I found online a list of useless superpowers. So to get us started, I'm going to read us some useless superpowers. The very first one is acid tears.
Very good. Yes.
Invisibility in the dark.
In what? Okay.
Control remote control. Communicate with fruit. Trash detection.
Are these real, like...
Oh yeah, these are real superpowers.
From comic books or what?
No, I think it's just somebody made a list of them.
Excellent.
75% levitation, so 75% of you can get off the ground. You can summon a lamp once. Bullet attraction.
Oh.
Read your own mind. Instant hair loss. Abnormal arm hair growth.
I think I have that.
Absorb bad luck. Super slow-mo.
Ooh.
You can revive bugs. Ultra fast aging. Invisible handwriting. 1 second super strength. The animation is a guy picking up a car and then the car flattening him moments later.
1 second.
You can turn into a laptop forever.
What?
Seduce hats. Or desaturation, turn black and white.
Wow.
So
Nice.
those are my favorite is bullet attraction.
You know, that kind of reminds me of a topic that I brought up with friends before, and that's I'd ask them the question, what would your, instead of superpower be, what would your inconsequential power be? And I can't remember all the examples that I gave them, but just like really, really minor things. And the one that I always said was silly, but I would love to be immune to shrinkage.
Oh.
It's not really that important. It's not going to really do much for you.
It could be important in the right situations. No, really.
That superpower of I'm immune to shrinkage.
There was a whole Seinfeld episode on that. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
So I'll start off let's just, I want to go around and then just get everyone's and then we'll maybe describe why. Okay. So mine, first of all, is I would love to see just 30 seconds into the future. My dream superpower is just to be able to see 30 seconds into the future.
Wow.
I'll explain in a moment. Garrett, what's yours?
Well, that's a dumbed down version of mine. Mine's really, really grandiose, but I would kind of want to give a history of what I've always said. And like
the shrinkage one?
No. The real one that I've had my whole life was I've just always wanted to fly, and I think that can be contributed to certain influences. Like when I was a kid, I saw the movie The Boy Who Could Fly, and but what influenced me the most was the movie Pete's Dragon.
Really?
And that's weird, but before I watched that, I don't remember ever having dreams about flying. After that movie, and when I was a kid, I watched it a million times. It directly influenced my dreams.
Now, I don't remember any flying scenes in there. Am I wrong? It's been a long time since I've seen it.
It's just the dragon itself. It's a big fat dragon, huge tail, tiny wings,
Terribly animated.
and it's got this it's just kind of a grueling animation for him to get flying. You know what I mean? And somehow that impressed upon my brain.
Do you want to hear my Pete's Dragon impression?
Yes.
Da, 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 da.
Oh, man.
That's very, very
Okay,
good.
sorry, go on.
So just, my dreams ever since then.
A dragon. Sorry.
So they've been basically very much like how Pete's the dragon flew. And
Elliot.
Elliot. And throughout my life, years and years and years, had sort of gotten better at flying in my dreams, and my dreams are very, very, very common to be flying. Like 99% of my dreams are just flying.
Really?
Yeah. And
It's because of the carbon monoxide leaks in your house. Yeah.
science.
Now, I got to say, though, flight's an easy one.
But okay, so since in the last few years I've decided that no, that is not the superpower I would choose.
All right.
The one that I would choose is to be able to go backwards in time just to watch history happen.
Oh, interesting.
Backwards.
So you can't affect it at all. You just
Can't affect it. I
Just
can't
do
even
it.
participate in it. I just get to watch and
You're
see
a
what
watcher.
happens. Yeah,
That's interesting.
And the reason is because of when I was talking about in our last episode all of these mysteries, I would finally be able to know exactly what happened.
Continuity. That's cool.
So that's my superpower. I want it desperately.
All right, interesting. And I'll chime in on yours in a second. Davey, what's your dream superpower?
I don't have one.
No, come on. Every boy has a dream superpower.
I always wanted to shoot like lasers or like energy bolts or fly
teleportation, anything like that.
Or like, no, because when I think of teleportations, I think of like crappy superheroes,
Dude,
like,
we'll say,
like
yeah.
Nightcrawler, and like it's like a puff of smoke, and he's like, I don't know, I can't teleport to a room, I don't know what's in there. I could teleport into something. Yeah, that's stupid. Time travel is a cool idea. I've always liked that from science fiction, things like that. I like some superheroes have the power to travel through time and space, like Silver Surfer. Interplanetary travel would be cool. Another or like I think of what's that book? 2001: Space Odyssey.
Haven't read that.
Evil Computer. The later ones where the guy becomes this. Anyway, I think of superpowers. Some of my favorite ones are the ones where people are reincarnated into a situation they didn't realize they were in, or they become powerful in ways unknown to them. Like of no fault of their own. I'm not talking like
Spider-Man gets bit by a spider.
Yeah,
Give me an example.
Gamma rays. I'm thinking of. I'm reading
The
here.
magic
like,
was in you all along,
like
type of thing.
the immortal Iron Fist, where it's like there's always someone who is called to that position of power through time. There's always been an immortal Iron Fist or someone who has had that ability. That would be cool, regardless of what power that may be.
Interesting. Cool. So I'm going to explain my 30-second.
Yeah.
Because this is one of those ideas that I literally think about every day, kind of like your flight dream every day, every night. I literally think about this superpower every day, how handy it would be. So being able to see just 30 seconds in the future is probably, like I said, in my mind, the ideal superpower. And here's why. I'll just use this as an example. It could be anything, but we'll use this as an example. You have 3 doors, and you walk into this room. There's these 3 doors, and you get to pick one of them. So you go and you pick door number 1, and there is just what's that?
No, continue. I'll ask you questions later.
There's just a rock in that room, and then so you rewind in your mind 30 seconds, and you say, okay, I'll try door number 2, and there's a pile of gold. But you're like, okay, but I'm still curious what's in room number 3. You rewind 30 seconds, and you check room number 3. There's nothing in there. So you go, okay, rewind 30 seconds. You instantly know what's in every single door before you open any of them, right when you walk in the room, because you've been able to see 30 seconds in the future. So it's not just what's going to happen, but you have control over what's going to happen.
So you're not standing there for 30 seconds
No.
watching yourself do everything.
You walk into the room, and you instantly see each scenario played out. And that can come in handy with so many of the things. With the conversation, you already know 30 seconds ahead in the conversation, whether it's chess. If you're shooting a weapon of any kind, you know which shot is going to be the fatal shot.
Interesting.
And so you know which one to take. So that's why, in my mind, it's the ideal superpower, no matter what situation you're in. But your flaw would be that you're incredibly myopic, you're incredibly short-sighted. Although you see 30 seconds, you only really see 30 seconds. It's hard to grasp the present and beyond the 30 seconds.
Wouldn't you be paranoid that you were making the wrong decision at every decision? Microwave burrito. Oh, what's in my fridge? 30 seconds in the.
That's a good point, but I mean, then it's the same personal question.
Maybe that's just me.
I question my own decisions every single day, and I don't have that superpower.
Yeah.
So yeah, I always think about how awesome that would be, because in any situation, you could do anything.
That's interesting. Yeah, I didn't even think about like shooting guns. The first thing I thought of was like, wow, you ace like every test.
Yeah, and that person would
30
be,
seconds into the test.
Yeah, if
You know-
it's a like multiple choice, it gives you the right answer afterwards.
Exactly. Yeah, something like that. And that's simple day-to-day stuff. You know, if you are the crime fighter, then you know you could just you're completely confident
never-
walking into a building.
You'd never
with
get
just
into a car accident either.
Oh yeah, that's another beautiful thing is you just have a little motorcycle and you can go as fast as you want. You know exactly which turns to take, when to
Oh my
brake, when to
gosh,
accelerate.
think about that.
You have everything.
In sports, you'd be like a super athlete and crap.
Mark's writing the screenplay for this.
That is 80% true.
Awesome.
It actually hasn't happened yet. I've got a good story in my head. I
Good.
need to put it down on paper. So yeah,
That is cool.
but back to Davies, because I think that's interesting too. How there's always one of somebody doing something, a certain calling that they get called to.
Yeah.
Is Green Lantern along
Yeah,
these
it's like
lines?
Green Lantern, yeah.
Something like Green Lantern. Yeah, I'd include Green Lantern in that. Like a calling. I'm trying to think of other superheroes that have that. I can't think of any. Other.
Last Airbender comes to mind for me.
Okay. Yeah, that would do it. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I'm thinking of like another thing I was reading on a comic from the mid '80s. It's called Concrete. It was published by Dark Horse, and they're actually republishing it. It's a story, kind of along the lines, not necessarily a superhero comic book, but it's about a guy who gets abducted by aliens and placed into this. His brain gets placed in a big concrete, like crazy looking body. I'll bring up a picture here, but once the aliens leave in like the first episode, you don't really hear about him like dealing with that part of his life. It's mostly about how he's like trying to make the world better, even though he's trapped in this huge body of concrete, you know, making the best. It's by Paul Chadwick, published by Dark Horse Comics, and he doesn't fight supervillains or criminals. He he's embarrassed about his physique. He breaks stuff, and he just tries to do like the best he can with what he's got. He like helps a farmer plow a field. He becomes like it's a weird idea for comics.
And I'm like, they made this into a recurring character.
Wow,
Yeah.
so there's no like alien invasion. Everyone's going extinct. It's plowing a field.
It's
Okay.
like a metaphor, like it says here, a metaphor for introverts, shy people feeling cut off from the rest of the world. But even though he's perceived as this huge, tumbling, big, croachy guy, like I'm making up words. He's
No, I followed you.
he's
Yeah.
it's his own inner struggle with himself and what he's become, just because like in the first episode some aliens decided to put his brain in a body. Isn't that weird? I think of other superpowers like that, comics like the Max or
Oh, that was a good one.
I can't think of them because I'm talking into a microphone, but
You know what? I love the idea of a superhero having some sort of flaw. I never got a hold of Superman. I never cared for Superman because he was so perfect, and it never intrigued me at all. Whereas Batman is a human who's kind of a self-made man. It's a lot more fascinating. Spider-Man has his, can't pay rent on his apartment or something like that, and those are a lot more intriguing to me than Superman. So, a guy in a big cement body or whatever.
It's funny. My if you had to pick your three ultimate favorite superheroes, what would they be? I think yours would be more of the interesting, more awesome. Mine are just like, well, Hulk because he can't be killed and he's the most powerful thing there is.
he's like a villain one time and he's a hero the next time.
Number two, Thor because, God of Lightning. Of course, I'm into that. And the other one is Magneto. Has always been my favorite ever since I got into this topic that won't make sense to anyone, the Electric Universe. And
I'm sure we'll hear more about it.
You will in the future podcasts. Bear with us,
Oh,
folks.
can't wait to eat that one.
But Magneto, I mean, if he were a real dude, in our world, I think that he would be, basically the most powerful thing that has ever been in comics, just because of how I think the world and the universe actually works. And I think that ability to, manipulate magnetism and electricity would basically enable him to be and do anything he wanted.
Yeah.
So
I think for me, my top three would be Batman by far number one. Iron Man is, like obviously the movies are popular, but definitely new to the scene. Kind of the same interesting idea where he's this drunk billionaire who does incredible things. And then third, I don't know. I'd say Wolverine, but those are all like easy answers, aren't they? They're easy.
Well, mine were easy too, but they're my favorites, so that's all I really wanted to know.
As far as comics go for me, favorite superheroes, I've always put storytelling and the emotional value of the character first, regardless of how many dudes you could shoot. I always kind of look at it from like an artistic perspective, because some of my favorite stories were boned by Jeff Smith, and weird.
I never did read those.
Weird comics, like underground comics and things where like superheroes have day-to-day problems like you and me, but for whatever reason, like Concrete, he breaks things when he tries to like go from point A to point B, things like that. So I don't know.
I want to mention my all-time ultimate favorite comic that I've ever found is free to read online, and it's called Girl Genius.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say Lemon. Oh no, Axe Cop. What was it called?
Axe Cop.
Axe Cop.
Girl Genius. I did read that.
One is pretty good. Girl Genius. It's still going on right now. I think there's like 9 or 10 volumes, and the art is awesome, and the story is just really, really incredible. I think it's fantastic, and the best part to me is that it's also hilarious. I've just been laughing out loud sitting in my seat reading that, and I think it's just really enjoyable, so I recommend that to anyone.
Well, that's by the
what was it called again?
Girl Genius.
Yeah, in
by
stereo.
Phil and Caja Foglio.
Yeah. It's a man and wife, I think.
Yes,
couple that do the art.
I told you they did art for Magic the Gathering.
Yeah. Oh, or was it Dungeons and Dragons stuff?
Magic, probably both. I mean,
okay,
Wizards of the Coast owns them both, but they did a lot of Magic cards. Like the first few.
Speaking
editions.
of Magic, I played Magic last night until 5 a.m. after New Year's.
OMG, that is awesome.
This is a nerdy podcast. I've admitted a lot of things on this episode.
Well, at the end of every podcast, we like to turn to our computer to see, in this wonderful discussion we had, who the winner was. And so, computer, who won this discussion?
And the winner is Mark.
Oh, thank you.
Do you feel vindicated?
If it was Davey again, I was going to be upset.
Oh, thank you, computer. I think I earned that one.
That's it. This is the Desert Bear Podcast. I'm Davey.
I'm Mark.
I'm Garrett.
Thanks for listening.